evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever pleasure watching us from, we greet you once again. Evening. Okay, we have just begun our show, the most embarrassing story, season part two. You know, it's all about focusing, building ourselves, telling us ourselves one or two stories, but one or two deals that maybe might have happened in our life journey. We might have experienced as a people, we might experience as a person. It's all about creating oneself, creating each other, a platform where at least we share the very definite things actually can that creators can creators developers and make us to be people who we maybe tend to be. That's it. Otherwise, thank you. If you're joining us for the first time, kindly subscribe, like, and share. Click the notification button so that anytime we upload a video such as this, you'll be the first person to notify, or anytime we stream, you'll be the first person to be notified. Okay? Okay, with me here today, at least, want to encourage ourselves, want to create ourselves. There's one thing that I always say, let's just take a look at this. Reflecting on life's journey. When we look at ourselves, or when we look at the journey which we ourselves maybe we have traversed until the very moment we are at today, you come to realize that there are a lot of efforts that maybe or perhaps had to be involved in order to make the journey look greater, or to make the journey looks enjoyable. We also understand that in life brings us together. Life creates that a sequence where we interact with different individuals, different people, a different personnel in life. It brings us together. But have to accept that God keeps us, all of us. God promotes the going to look good. God creates that humble ground that we appreciate, that we admire, that we sometimes call it, we resolve to as a potential ground for us to interact as a people. You maybe travel to different places, different geographical areas. You meet different people. Maybe it is your first time meeting such people, but your interaction creates a lot of um, it creates a relationship that can either last or can either be a short term effect, something on such. So, what is it when we mean by life journey, reflecting on life journey, looking back, seeing, for example, you are on a road, let's say you're in a journey, you're walking on a road. You always have this possession, or you always have this belief that maybe at the end of 2 to 3 hours, or maybe at the end of half an hour, I will be perfectly at the place that maybe I'm supposed to be, my destination. So what is it that will reflect the number one thing, or the number one conflict that brings us to that destination, or to that point, is timing. Time is a key artifact that creates a lot of algorithm towards everything that we plan as a people, towards everything that we develop as a people, towards everything that we maybe process as a people. But we have to understand that everything we process, everything we accept, everything we come to, or everything we arrive at, has a certain effect to ourselves. We can either be positive or negative one. But you have to understand that it has an effect. The journey we begin, the journey you started in life began when when you came to this world. Maybe when you came to this world for the first time, that's through birth. That's the first time you saw yourself into this world, and that's the first time you just began as a person. That's the first time maybe your life started developing, and maybe that's the first time you started maybe associating with the so-called environment. You started be appreciating with the so-called environment. That may be the first time you came to the sight of light, you know darkness, something will surge you, but you have to leave that aside. That was just by the way, before we arrive to our main topic, just by the way, actually, to just by the way. So, as a person, this is life. And when I mean life, it is a life. First, you have to understand, you have to ask yourself this question: what is the definition of life? Oh my goodness! You define life. You define life. When you define life, you have the ability to define life. Then you have the ability to define your future. Then, because the future cannot develop by us life. It means that life has to be in place for it to for the future to develop. So when you interact, the first thing you need to appreciate yourself each and every day. You wake up, that's life. You begin your life. When each and every day you wake up, you begin the journey of that particular moment's life, this period, So each and every day I always tell people, say one word to your creator, and above all, appreciate yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror, Praise yourself. You're wonderfully and physically created. That creates a lot of admiration. It builds the ability, it's build your ability to boost it, You appreciate yourself, That's the first thing. Each and every day you wake up in the morning, appreciate yourself. It will give a boost of how you take life to be in a particular way, So that's the first thing I would I will maybe tell you to always do in the morning, My journey as a person, my journey was never easy, My journey, and it is still not easy, but we have to focus. You have to give ourselves that perfect, maybe perfect hope that tomorrow is gonna be different tomorrow. Our tomorrow is gonna change. Our tomorrow is gonna be a tomorrow of a greater potential, My journey was never easy, and it is still not easy. But I'd always encourage myself, no matter what you go, no matter what comes your way, always believe in yourself, trust the process, encourage yourself that you have the ability to create, to continue whatever is necessary for you to develop, necessary for you to continue uh, loving life, appreciating life, enjoying the nature, what God created, So my journey was never easy. That's the first thing I always tell them. Maybe my journey today, my story today can inspire you. Maybe you have a different story. Their story is maybe worse than mine. It's worse than mine. So it is different. So that's what I always say. Your story might be worse, but remember, each and every individual has a story. My story can be different, yes, but I do believe in do believe too that my story maybe creates a lot of, when I look life back, oh my goodness, it was never easy. When I look life, it was never easy, That's why I always say, if you can't give me peace, then rather quit, because peace is what I need in most of everything that I do, I love peace. And when I love peace, it means that I appreciate peace more than any other thing. So that's why I love peace, So I mean it when I say peace. Yeah, peace. So I mean peace, So those are the things that are perhaps yes, perhaps no. Otherwise, that was my life, So sometimes I feel like crying because It was never easy with me, So I just have to mature. Yeah, I just have to mature. I just have to mature. I just have to act mature. That's all I could always say to myself. But above all, God, our God is an awesome God who reign from heaven above with it. Hey, that song is very encouraging. Our Lord is an awesome God who reigns. So if you know, maybe if you know the song in the comment section, guys, oh my goodness, you can stream cars. You can be great. You help me the song, singing the song. Comment down there, let me know which part of the world you're coming from. It will be great help to us as a people. It will be great help. So that's it. You just have to appreciate everything we say, everything we do, everything we continue going on. Every day is our blessed day. Don't give up, my brother. Don't give up. You have your story, I have my story. But don't ever try to give up. When you give up, you're useless. Don't ever try to give up. We were born heroes. Act mature. And that brings us to our topic. How can you act mature? Acting mature, when I say mature, maturity is when you realize what you want, what you can do, how it is, what is meant to be, blah blah blah, etc. That's maturity. But how can you act maturity? You can understand those, you can believe in those. Akiwallahi, hii panya kinipata nitaigonga, kataka jua ya nini chetu. Your time has not reached off. Tajua shetani alisukumwa chini kwa sababu ya madhara zake to the world. So how to act mature? How to act mature? Maturity is when you realize yourself, you know what you want, you know what defines you. You have your own principles. That's maturity, You know when to react, how to react, and the best moment is to react, That's maturity. But you can't be a mature person when you don't know what you want. You'll be stupid, idiot. You'll be stupid, you'll be an idiot, you'll be all those sorts of things. So how to act mature? How is it to act mature? You don't be stupid, But when you are mature, you come. Your reaction are always calm. Oh my goodness. Mature people don't rush to react emotionally. When you're mature, you know when and specific time to react, You consider your specific moments, You don't reason. You just, when a question is asked, you have to realize, understand, You have to understand when is it or what is the best time for me to chip in, maybe to answer the question. Because in each and every room, when a question is maybe aired, everybody else are, oh my goodness, you have those people who are as fast as nobody's business, in answering questions. But you have to consider this type of question. How should I answer it, and what is needed of the question? That's what defines you to be a mature person. Hallelujah! I believe I'm talking to somebody. You listen to more than talking. A mature person will not rush. You not be blah 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 blah, everything blah 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 blah. Okay, for example, what's your name? Oh my goodness, my name is John T. Oh, you have to consider when to speak. You don't just rush, throw words. Oh, my name is John T. You have to have your dignity. You are mature. That's what defines maturity. You don't just throw answers in the name of your answering questions. Know when to walk away. Not every argument deserves your energy. There are some questions you just have to pretend maybe you never heard of them. Maybe it is the first time reaching you. So you have to act mature, defines you, creates you, develops you, builds you, transforms you, makes you to be somebody, somebody you appreciate, somebody you admire. When you can't admire yourself, then it means that you're not mature enough to admire yourself. Mature is when you appreciate yourself, no matter what has gone wrong. No matter what difficulty you face, maybe you might have tried in life, maybe you might have tried a certain particular activity, you fail. But maturity is what defines you to be consistent. You can't be consistent when you don't know what you want. That brings us to our next point. You have to have a consistent body language, steady eye contact, relaxed postures, and control movement. You have to communicate with a lot of confidence and self-assurance. That's what makes you, that's what builds you, and that's what creates you. So that's what defines maturity. Mm. And you have to know when and where, you know, your limitations. You have to know your boundaries. You have to understand what are my boundaries, what are the certain particular levels that I need to go fast. You don't just you don't just chip in the name of That's maturity. You know your lane. You respect other people's lane. Maturity is when you appreciate what your neighbor does well. That's maturity. So don't be a sycophant. And you have to know how to handle criticism effectively. Instead of getting defensive, you pause, you reflect, you respond with a lot of wisdom. You don't just throw, your response is the norm of your answering. Like, have you ever seen cows in a cattle? How do you call it? Cow shed or what? I don't know. Yeah, so you have to be responsible. You have to be considerate. You have to be very, you have to have a lot of positivity in it. So, and your dressings, grooming. Oh my goodness! How maturity is when you know how to groom. You know, maturity is when you know how to groom. Oh, now I'm just talking to somebody. When you're mature enough, you know how to groom. You don't just dress in the name of my goodness, like oh my god, you're going to your farm, or maybe you're going to a village meeting. You know when and what particular time certain dress code is necessary for a setting. You don't just dress in the name of my goodness, you throw. For example, you can't wear a gambut when you're going to an office. You have to dress official. Oh yeah, that's maturity. You know what is worth of you. You know, you know what is needed of you. You know what is actually necessary of you. So that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Mm. Maturity. Your dressing code will appear. Your dressing code will define who you are. You cannot go to a meeting. Okay, you attend a church, a congregation, for example, a church service, and then your dressing code actually. Oh my goodness! Everybody will like, oh my god, what is this? Oh damn it! Oh my god! Each and every attention will be distracted, and everybody will be on you. Oh my goodness! What am I seeing, or what are we seeing? Oh my god! Oh my god! Ah! So you know what is needed of you. That's maturity. So that's it. I'm talking to somebody, yo. Otherwise, thank you guys for the live. I just wanted to motivate somebody today, this evening. Something touched me. Oh, but maturity. Oh my goodness. Remember years back, some 2 to 3 years ago, I was like, oh my god, a toddler. Have you ever seen a toddler? Yeah, every time a teacher asks question, oh my god, I'm the father to the most so. Okay, what I came to realize, I remember back years then, when I was in high school. Yeah, a teacher used to ask question. Oh my goodness, I could just throw my oh yes, teacher. But for sure, I never knew the answer, or I never had the concept of the question that was asked. But to avoid, because our teacher was like, oh my goodness, you have to raise your hands up each and every moment. You have to raise your hands up and to let everybody understand that everybody has to be active. Remember that. But this thing came. It is like it entered my DNA. So everything. Oh my goodness! Even the light. Okay, there's a time I was in. Let me leave that question aside. There's a time I was. We were serving. So when we were serving, a cook almost. Okay, whose plate is this? By then I was having my plate. Oh, like, oh my gosh, this plate look huge because back then in high school, the size of your plate will determine the size of food you get when you are an official. And lucky enough, I was one of those officials. So the size of my plate will determine the type of the size of food I could get. So I was like, oh my god, that's my plate. Perhaps that plate belonged to the school president. So I was like, oh my gosh, what if the owner of the plate finds who took the plate? Oh my god, this thing will be like, oh my god, the war uh, of ants. Have you ever seen the war of ants? Yeah, it will be like the war of ants. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I served that day. I just served with that big plate, but I had this in mind. I have to return the plate to that specific spot where I took it from. And that's how it was. Or else hell could have broke loose, my friend. So it was like, oh gosh, that's high school. It was not easy. And in high school, actually, that's when in high school, that's where everybody had a job. Most of those people who used to be tall, huge, had body size, the body size could actually, oh my goodness, determine what, you know. Hey, that's when you could understand what somebody was made of. Yeah, during the actual tea breaks. Yeah, so we used to buy, we call them buffalo, yani the block one. Yeah, the block one. And when you buy bread, the bread used to be 45 bob and plus mandazi. So you have to have a note of 50 bob for you to be able to buy a bread. So when you buy a bread, you purchase a bread, a mandazi has to be placed on top of it. So those people used to struggle. Those mandazis belongs to me, man. Those mandazis are ours. And so it was like, oh my god, I struggled for you. The line was, how people used to be. So was you know how the struggle was so tight that nobody could have a space. More so if you were tiny. So I was like, that guy was the size of how do you call it? Yeah, I was tiny by then. So I used to give 50 bob to those huge men. Oh my god, go and struggle. 50. Oh my. But I remember one time I was broke. Hey god, I had to use, even though I was tiny, but I used to be very cheeky. No, tiny and cheeky. So I had developed this idea. Okay, maybe you can distract. You can either go inside the canteen, help that seller who is selling to sell, or maybe use a trick. You be a trick. Just use tricks, and you find your way of eating mandazis. Mandazi was special food, special meal, or special diet during break times. Yeah. When you had mandazi, most so when you are broke, hey, you had to. You had to. That's how life used to be. That's how it used to be. And I remember then back in high school, there was this teacher. Oh my goodness, he was tall. The teachers, I remember my first day, first week, that first week on my admission. Yeah, on my admission, first week on my admission. Actually, I was like, oh my god, I was the cheekiest. So Costari, no, yeah, oh my goodness, make a lot of noise. So you want everybody to record because by then you are making good friends. Oh my god, blah 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 blah. This teacher come on, pa! A huge slap that made me to nini to forget that high school is different from primary. So those are the things that maybe for us when we remember. That was high school. And in high school, oh my goodness, my high school was like, oh my god, a nightmare. That's what I can say. Because in Form 1, yeah, that your school experience strikes thrice. Oh my goodness. It was like a hell bombshell, man. So it was not encouraged. I was like, oh my goodness. Actually, the first strike, everything of mine got banned. It got when that time, during the evening preps. I just had a verse because by then it was shiny, or what do you call this? Nini, what do you call it? This thing. It was a nini. How do you call it? How do you call it? Kiangazi. Kiswahili call it kiangazi. How do you call it? Kiangazi. Yes, it was. There was a lot of sunshine. Actually, rain had failed to appear. Or how do you call it? Kizungu nayo inanichanganya mbaya. Chana nayo. Let us leave this aside. So it was hot, man. It was hot. Lack of water. On our taps, we used to travel to River Nyando. But thank God of the principal by then, uh, Idaga, what, how do you call it? Idaga well, or how do you call it? Idaga well. And so this well used to help us during the drought times. Yes, drought. Yeah, during the period of prolonged drought. So it was not very, very, very easy. Sometimes, as a boy, bathing is not a constant activity that you have to put in your timetable. But you can eat minus bathing, or you can live for a whole week, or you can stay for a whole week minus bathing. This is something that is common with the boys, actually. So bathing was not how do you call it? Was not a necessary tool for us then in high school. So it was not easy, man. It was not easy. It was not easy. But you have to have spray during your time, during your night. You have to have spray, while you're at school, because when you fail to bathe for 1 week, just remember how the kind of smell, or the kind of environment that will be produced due to your absence of bathing. Just imagine you fail to bathe for the next 1 week. Even you yourself, you might try to run out of your body because of what? The smell. Yeah, so you have to have something that actually can quench the smell, make it look as if, oh my goodness, you're clean, but the real sense is you're dirty. Yeah, the real sense is you're dirty. Otherwise, guys, those are the things. Yeah, so today, guys, I will leave you with one of us. Go and read the book of Ephesians chapter 4, verses 11. For those people who have the Bible, you see, in Swahili, actually, I'm sorry for those people who who will not understand what I'm saying. But I have one spoken word to maybe to run my mouth, or to put into my mouth. I don't know how to put it. Kizungu nayo. I have one spoken word. I'll read it. Yeah, freedom of speech can't allow me to keep my mouth shut. Juu mgonjwa will be there no matter what. Haya, waombezi wazalendo, one day tubonge na God word by word ili wagonjwa wapone. Aliyo among the wagonjwa ili wagonjwa wapone. Si one day tuende na Bible tuwasomee word by word ili mkono wa Mungu waone. Na wale wanaugua TB tuwawekee summon ya Joshua kule neno wanone. Enyi wazalendo, si mwakumbuka wakati mgomo kama mzazi alipoteza au ni daughter au ni child who had a dream of becoming a doctor. So kama wenye ndoto wanakufa kwa vitanda hospitalini, watatoa wapi kurota Nyie wazalendo, mkiona Vice ana concentrate na Rais, jueni ni mkono walinawa, then akakula kona juu kwake. Mambo ni matatu na mambo ni sawa. Actually, this live was not meant to provoke anybody, so it is just a spoken one. I'm just trying to add a flavor na wao. Alafu vote akipata maumivu afutajali, utasikia kinga ni dawa, na hiyo time usia haina dawa. I say mgonjwa hali maututu akitaka kupelekwa ICU, stima inapotea na watu wako kwa power. Madok nao washakuwa sorted, but tutapata bado wanazembea upote ward fulani na mdozi wakipigia umbea, time mgonjwa anaugua majeraha huku anajiombea. Hilo dok TMC fulani ilizima, ungemhudumia fast angekuwa mzima. Hilo nurse, when you get to understand that injuries people are nursing, believe you me, utasikia hii tune nursing, utajua hii ni spoken syrup. Wacha nitishe Musa ile tablet ni kuonyeshe picha na video waliogonjwa wakiteseka after kukua kiapo, utarelax ni kama kwa hiyo service unaboeka, but ukitwa tenda kwa private hospital unachangamuka na unaenda cheka. Alafu mapenzi ni mtihani, sio ni must to perform. Ukipewa exercise na ujue hapo kwa kuperform kuwa na kufail na kuexcel iko. Mostly failures hawajawahi kuwa excited, na wao kuanga na ma-ex, wao kuanga na chuki. Hiyo chuki ndio wapea Okay guys, I will stop from that point. Thank you guys if you joined. God bless you, God keep you. Let us meet our next show tomorrow, guys. Our story, my story. Let us give ourselves a perfect moment. For now, bye bye. See you next time.